What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is Season 8, Episode 3, and the episode is titled New Beef Cakes on the Block. So, let's jump right into the review. So, we start this episode off with Nell and Mel. They are playing pickleball, and I will say I love to see the ladies working out, having a good time. They were getting out of breath. And then they go to the sidelines and they have a conversation. So first things first, they talk about the fact that Mel basically felt some type of way because nobody came to the podcast besides Stormy. Where was Nell? Nell and Chris are always supporting Mel. They were nowhere to be found. Tisha and what's her name? Kimmy. They were nowhere to be found. And, Mel felt like, hey, I thought we were moving forward. Why y'all not trying to support me? And on top of that, this is your boss's podcast. Now, here's the thing. I honestly feel like the reason why everybody didn't show up was because they didn't want to pay for them tickets. Like, Carlos, why didn't you automatically give your cast of the show that you have been making bank off of tickets to the show? That should have been a given. I'm sorry, but they shouldn't have to pay to get into that podcast. Like, Carlos, be so for real. But nonetheless, Nell, she does apologize, She talks about how, the tickets, they were sold out so fast. I wasn't able to get any. Nell feels like she should have just hit her up for some tickets. And Nell could have absolutely done that. Moving on, though, you already know we got to talk about Martell getting arrested. So Nell wants to know from Melody what went down. Melody tells her, what Martell did, her actions as far as going to the police saying, hey, this is what my ex is trying to do to me. He's trying to release a video on me. And at the end of the day, Nell is singing a different tune. At first, she was like, oh, I wouldn't send a black man to jail and blah, blah, blah. No, it's called, if you commit the crime, you can do the time. Okay? Black or not. Also, if you have kids with that man or not, okay? You can absolutely go to jail. Nonetheless, they talk about the fact that Chris's daughter has, Nell feeling some type of way. She's pretty upset because Chris's daughter has done like an interview or something online. I have not seen it, but she's calling Nell a side chick all throughout this video, saying that she was this, that, another. Now, here's the thing. Nell explains that she was never a side chick because, yes, Chris was married. However, he was separated from his ex and he was moving forward with getting a divorce. And I guess that is when he started to date Nell. She wasn't even privy to the fact that he was married. Now, I will say this. This situation, it's giving Kiowa, Kimmy, and Maurice. To where these men, they feel like, hey, I'm no longer in this marriage with you. We're going through a divorce. We're separated. I can still date and do my thing. Because they have no plans on going back to their ex. Okay? So that's the vibe that I'm getting out of this situation. Now, one thing that I do want to say about Chris's daughter is I understand that you feel some type of way about Nell. It seems like you have felt some type of way about her for years. Also, I feel like there's a part that is in this situation where you probably feel like your dad left your mom for this other woman, blah, blah, blah. Who knows what really went down back in the day? Like, here's my thing. I know that sometimes the kids get grown and then they want to tell their side of things, and that's cute and all. But baby, you're still coming from a kid's perspective, okay? Because let's say that Chris got with Nell when you were about 7 years old. You were 7. You were not aware of all the adult conversations that was happening back in the day. You were not there for all the things that happened, between the adults back in the day. So I get it. You may feel some type of way that man left your mama, but you're just not privy or aware of everything that happened. And I get it. You want to tell your side of the story, but if she wants to talk about how Nell may have mistreated her specifically, and she has recollection of it, sure, go ahead. But I'm sorry, I get kind of annoyed when the kids have something to say about what the adults were doing. Baby, you don't know what your mama was doing. You don't know what your daddy was doing. You were not there 24/7. Let's call a thing here. You can only hear stories about what they want you to know, but you ain't gonna ever know everything. And honestly, you shouldn't know everything because, again, you were a child. You should have had a childhood. You don't need to know what the adults are doing. You know what I'm saying? Not in that type of capacity. But we're gonna go ahead and we're going to move on, okay? So, we see Stormy, right? She's meeting up with this new girl, okay? I forgot that there was even a new member added to the cast because we just met Sonny and Moses. So we meet this girl, her name is Latricia, right? Now, Teresa girl, listen, you need a lip liner, okay? You're not a bad looking woman at all, but you just need a lip liner. I think that would help out your look. Moving forward, they basically talk about Stormy's journey to becoming a mom and how her and Courtney, they plan on, moving forward to have more kids. And they are planning to actually use a surrogate. And we already know that we have seen how Courtney was not on board, a couple of years ago, but he is now. Now, we learned that Latricia, she actually saw Tisha at the gym, and Tisha was like, "Oh yeah, you can be my trainer or whatever." Now, at first, she didn't respond to Tisha because she was trying to check the temperature between Tisha and Stormy. Because she has loyalty to Stormy. One thing I will say is that I liked Stormy's response. As in, yeah, I know Tisha may not really like me like that because I called her husband out her name, but honestly, you should go ahead, train her, get to know Tisha. Y'all may rock together. Just don't get involved with Marcel because he's the one who always causing all the drama. One thing that I will say is that I really wish that Stormy and Mel could be back cool because the way Stormy and Mel approach situations is so similar. Because Mel, she told, I think that was Destiny, the same thing. Like, go kick it with Tisha. Y'all may rock together. Just don't be trying to go back and forth, trying to, tell my business to her and blah, blah, blah. Even though Destiny didn't listen. But nonetheless, I just feel like Stormy and Mel are alike in many ways. And I really wish that they would get back cool. But we'll see if that ever happens. Nonetheless, they go on to talk about how Latricia, we have to call her LT or something. Trisha, whatever. That lady, she is basically like the ultimate fitness girl, right? And Stormy was like, how'd you become so into fitness? And she said it was because she had a lot of anger in her. Because there was a lot of stuff happening at home that it was just bad. The fact that Stormy compared that lady's ex-husband to Mr. from The Color Purple, Mr.? I said, oh no. That's giving mental abuse. That's giving emotional abuse. Like, oh no. It seems like this woman has been through it, okay? She's been through it and she has made it over that hill because she talks about how she met her new man. I think his name is Ken. He's into fitness as well. And this man is just way better than her ex. He doesn't treat her at all how that ex-husband treated her. And one thing, it was interesting to hear how both of these women talked about how they have dated some men who have treated them horribly, and then the men who they're with now treat them so different. Like how Trisha was like, oh, I was so ready to like fight with him and argue with him. And he's like, I'm on your team. I'm not trying to fight you. Or even how Stormy mentioned how like she was the type of person that would go outside and stab the grass because she was so mad and angry with her partner at the time. But when she got with Courtney, Courtney was like, baby, we're not doing that. Like, we having civilized conversations over here. Like, it is a very beautiful thing to see black women meet men who are real men who actually care about them and want to nurture them and love on them, that's beautiful. Now, that was pretty much that scene, but let's go ahead and move on to Stormy and Courtney because they go car shopping, right? I'm not even about to play with these two with their whole little Abe Lincoln theory about the car. I can't. Moving on from that, these two are talking about getting popping in the back seat and all of this. I said, baby, I know they be having a good time. You hear me? We learn again they're moving forward with the surrogate. Okay, it's for sure a thing. They talk about how Stormy she's gonna miss out, the experience of breastfeeding because with a surrogate that won't be happening. And it was interesting to hear Courtney say, well, I kind of felt a way because you were the only person who could feed him. You know what I mean? And that is something that got me to thinking. I'm like, I know that a lot of women they do breastfeeding where they just have the baby latched to them. Um, but I think that we should totally utilize the pump more. Now, I don't have kids, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just, tossing this idea out there. I mean, I don't know if it's easier with just letting the baby latch to you versus um, trying to make bottles. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if you're able to pump, you know what I'm saying? This way the dad can be involved. He can get up, make the bottle. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you can like store it in the freezer. At least that's what I've seen. I think on TikTok. But yeah, I think it does allow for the dad to be a little bit more involved. And it was honestly good to see Courtney say that he wanted to be more involved and feed the baby. You know what I'm saying? So these two also talk about them planning a double date with Latricia and her man Ken. All right, fine, that's cute. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, so we actually learned a little bit more about LT and Ken, right? Of course, we already know that they're gym rats, but we also learned that she had two children in her previous marriage, and for him, he has a daughter who's about to be 13 years old. Now, this is not his biological daughter, but maybe that's his daughter. And I said, well, you know what? Ken, you all right with me? Maybe you must be a stand up guy because the fact that you were in a relationship with a woman previously and you had such a great connection with that child, that lets me know number one, that you were probably in a relationship with this woman for a while for you to have that type of connection with that little girl. And number two, you are a really good man because you are willing to continue to have a relationship with that little girl. Because a lot of people, when they break up with people, they break up with them kids too. And that's the real hurtful thing. And I think that that's so amazing that you still feel like that's your daughter. Now, I'm not even going to lie to y'all. These two started having this conversation, and I really did not care. Because it was just a lot of things that, like, we had already heard. Sure, she don't know if she want to have a conversation with Tisha. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, I met up with Stormy. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, what else is going on? Oh wait, I almost forgot. These two also plan on getting married at some point. When, we don't know. Moving on. All right, so we actually see Mel. She's at this plant place, and it looks really cool. I'm really into plants, so I would be so into this. Next thing you know, Kimmy shows up, and I can't lie. At first, when Kimmy showed up, I said, "Where is Kimmy's pants?" Because the pants that she had on, it looked like it was just her legs. I was like, what is going on? But she just happened to have on brown pants. Nonetheless, Tisha gets there and they get to planting, right? Cool. So the Bill just wants to like catch up with them, see what's going on with them. Unfortunately, we get the news that Kimmy's mom, she actually had breast cancer. She basically had the opposite version of what Kimmy had. I think Kimmy's was triple negative, and her mom's was triple positive, or it could be in the reverse. But they did catch it when it was in stage one. And of course, y'all already know Tisha mentioned the fact that what she's been doing is traveling with the family because, the whole family took a trip to Africa. Alright, so let's get to the property breakdown. It seems like Maurice and Kimmy have like some type of building or a complex or something, and almost all of the units that were available are being rented out, right? There's one more space available, and basically they were joking like, okay, Tisha, you could probably come get that unit, for your office. And Mel is like, no, but like her office should be built by now because, she was working on that last year. Girl, that thing ain't built because Marcel was lagging. Let me tell you something. Marcel be playing in Tisha face all the time. The fact that he made sure to get that Airbnb built or whatever, even though I feel like they moved into the Airbnb, I don't take that man serious at all. Because her office should have been done before the Airbnb was. If we want to be technical, it's just an office. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out was the fact that Tisha seems like she don't want to work no more. It seems like she may be going back to the idea of being a stay-at-home mom. And honestly, if that's where she wants to be, she absolutely can do that. But I can bet you, even if she was a stay-at-home mom, her name would still be on that paperwork, so that way they can be a woman-owned business. You feel me? But we about to go ahead and move on, so that way we can talk about Melody and Martell being arrested, because of course that's the burning conversation that everyone wants to have with Mel. And basically, Tisha has heard that it was because of some text messages that was sent months ago or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So when she tries to ask Mel what happened, Mel reversed it on her, was like, well, maybe you should ask Marceau because he's the one who had a statement to say. And Mel plans on having a conversation with Marceau about whatever he said. Now, y'all, I'm not even going to lie to you. I have no idea what that man said because I did not know that he said anything about this situation. But I do respect Mel for saying, girl, I'm going to go talk to your husband about this. Just giving you a heads up. Like, y'all, I can't lie. When Mel had to tell these girls what she went through with Martell and how the reason why she made the decision that she made because of the type of video that man was trying to release on her, it's mind blowing to me how everybody is like, wow, that's what he did. Oh, I didn't even think it was like that. Why did you not think that? That man has been unhinged for years towards her. I don't know why I just don't think the worst and be like, yep, he did it. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the reason why these ladies did not come to that podcast. Honestly, I feel like they probably felt some type of way that only Mel was asked to co-host, number one. Number two, they probably didn't want to buy those tickets. And number three, it sounds like they're scared of the millimeters. Oh, and I almost forgot. Tisha's reasoning was because she wasn't invited to a public event. So did you want Carlos to personally invite you? Or were you expecting Mel to do that? Just curious. Now, let me be specific because Kimmy was the one who brought up the fact that the millimeters, they're not always nice to her and Tisha or whatever, and how like the energy was bad and all this stuff. And Mel was kind of confused, like, what energy was bad? Where? What are you talking about? They were like, oh yeah, well, Sonny told us that the energy was bad. And Mel had to correct that real quick. No, sweetheart. Sonny was getting booed, okay? The audience wasn't feeling Sonny because of that situation with what she did, messing around with Moses, and she was supposed to be Destiny's producer. Let's get that clear. Everybody had a good time because if we want to be honest, we would have heard Stormy say, yeah, the energy in the room was bad or the podcast wasn't, a good time. No, we would have heard that from Stormy. We didn't hear none of that. Like, I will say that I really respect Mel for clarifying that, like, no, the problem was Sonny and Moses because they was ducking and dodging the questions or being defensive when they were, explaining their answers to certain questions, which they were, you know what I'm saying? And it was all them. And I will say I agree with Melody when she talks about the fact that Moses needs to be the one to have a conversation with Destiny because he wasn't keeping it all the way real with her. Okay? I just honestly feel like it's crazy that man sat up on that stage talking about he did not break up with Destiny. but she knew what it was. Did she? Like, I just hate the fact that, like, Sunny is over here flaunting the fact that she got the ring or whatever. Girl, if that help you sleep at night. But on top of that, this guy Moses, I'm telling y'all, I think that he is looking for a woman to take care of him. He thought he was gonna get that with Destiny because Destiny was on a TV show. No, Destiny finances ain't right for that. So she couldn't take care of him. And this is how he latched on to Sunny. Now, these ladies sat up here and brought up girl code. And, Mel is like, girl code. You're putting girl code and Destiny in the same sentence? Be so for real. Because y'all already know she feels some type of way about Destiny. Destiny had no type of girl code when it came to Mel's relationship with Martell and them being divorced because Destiny kept running that mouth of hers to Martell about Melody. Now, baby, the way Mel got serious a little bit when she was like, I don't know what Destiny does, because she ain't my friend like that. Baby, she definitely feels like something probably happened between Destiny and Martell. And honestly, I would not be surprised if something did. I'm just saying. And that pretty much wraps up the episode. Y'all, let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.